Hello and welcome to another fun-filled edition of Adam's Music Box. Now, a question that may come up in the life of someone who talks about music on the intranet is, what is your favorite Fleetwood Mac album? And most people would expect you to say something like Rumors or the self-titled album where Lindsay and Stevie came in or something like that. And those are wonderful albums, and I've talked about them a lot. But I've actually got one that I think is the ultimate Fleetwood Mac album, even if it's something of a diamond in the rough, sandwiched between sort of the initial iteration of the band, which was very blues based, and of course the sort of songwriting dynamo style of Fleetwood Mac that came in 1975 and carried the band into the 80s, into the 90s, and into the record books and all that. But in 1972, a very unique and interesting lineup of Fleetwood Mac recorded an album called Bare Trees, and I consider this an absolutely perfect album. It has so many different styles of music, from blues-based rock to hard rock to progressive rock to soft sort of singer-songwriter-based rock to interesting sort of moody instrumentals. It's got everything, and it all somehow works together. It doesn't feel like a random sort of smorgasbord of stuff. It feels like a cohesive, interesting album. And I think one of the reasons that it does is because it's a very unique lineup. Of course, you've got Mick Fleetwood on drums and John McVie on bass. They're the anchors of the band. But you've got Christine McVie coming in on keys, vocals, and songwriting. She had only joined the band relatively recently at this point, and she is on absolute top form. You've got Danny Kerwin, who is sort of a holdover from the final iteration of sort of the earlier pure blues version of Fleetwood Mac. And you've got Bob Welch, who was a sort of rock and roll singer-songwriter who later had something of a successful solo career, but this was his era of, let's say, quasi-leadership, or leadership, if you will, of Fleetwood Mac. And it all just came together so very well. Um, this lineup had some other interesting albums that were, again, very good, but none quite as complete and as interesting as this one. It's one of those albums where you can put it on cover to cover, front to back, and it's just really, really, really interesting. Apart from maybe this odd poem read by an old woman at the very end, but hey, that works too. Check it out. It's all on the streaming services, and let me know what you think. And as always, like, subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Take care.